We are here live in Miami, Florida at the University of Miami. Some breaking news, though, out of Washington that very much affects the state of things here in Florida. The Republican National Committee suing the State Department now for emails and communications from Hillary Clinton's days there and beyond. The RNC says the information has direct bearing on her qualifications to be president and that voters need to know about it before the election. Good thing that we have the RNC's chief strategist and communications director here with us right now to discuss. Sean Spicer is here with me now. Sean, thank you so much for coming in. So in this lawsuit, it says that this information is manifestly relevant to whether she, Hillary Clinton, is fit to lead this country. What are you guys trying to do here?
So there's two lawsuits, actually. One lawsuit deals with communications between Hillary Clinton and her top aides, Cheryl Mills, Brian Patagliano, Patrick Kennedy, during her tenure as Secretary of State. The other lawsuit has to do with her time after she left the State Department and with her aides that still were at the State Department and her campaign and outside entities and whether there was any coordination or collusion to cover it up. What we know now is that with each passing email dump that comes out, we find more classified information, more things that she said never existed. So we filed a FOIA lawsuit, a FOIA request with the State Department last year. We have heard nothing. They have stalled. We're taking this to federal court because with each passing day, we find out more and more information about Hillary Clinton, and in doing so, it has a direct relevance on her ability to be commander-in-chief and president of the
But as you well know, the FBI is also investigating everything surrounding her emails. What do you think you're going to uncover with this lawsuit that the FBI is not?
We don't know, but at the end of the day, this is all public information. It is legally allowed to be seen by the public. And so if the FBI is investigating it, it may take months and years. We're at a critical point in this election season, not just for Republicans, but for Democrats, and they need to know what's in this email, whether or not she abided by the law, what type of communication, potentially was there any cover-up. I mean, these are important and relevant topics that the American public has a right to know.
Right, but I can already hear exactly what Hillary Clinton is saying right now. The timing, the topic, the messenger points at one thing, that this is all political.
Right, but remember, she said that about everybody. So we've had judges, inspector generals appointed by Democrats, President Obama, everyone to her. Because we didn't. We actually tried to get this information a year ago. They've stalled on it. And at some point, we realized that their goal is to continue road so that they can get elected at the very least before it ever happens. We need to let the American people know what was actually occurred during her tenure as Secretary of State, whether anything nefarious went on, whether there was a cover-up. All of these things are relevant to her fitness to be President of the United States.
Let me ask you real quick about the Republicans and the big night last night. After last night's big wins by Donald Trump, Ted Cruz also having a big win. We talk about this almost every time you come on. I know that this is your favorite topic. More or less likely now that you guys are looking at a contested convention after the results last night.
Well, I'd like to start with, obviously, the big night last night. Congratulations to Bernie Sanders. I think he did phenomenal in Michigan. That was a huge win for him, and it shows the depth that he has, and I think you're going to see that race go till June. But with respect to our race, I think, look, we've got four phenomenal candidates up there, and what last night showed is that we've still got a race on our hands. The intensity continues on our side. The level record turnout that's continuing on our side speaks to the enthusiasm that's on the Republican side versus the Democratic side. With each passing day, I think that it becomes a little bit more likely that this is going to go on longer than it has in the past. But remember, we've got a big day coming up on March 15th. We've got a lot. We start that winner-take-all phase, particularly in Florida and Ohio, where we've got those two states with a lot of delegates at stake.
Sean, stand by with me. I think we have Ted Cruz. I think I'm hearing Ted Cruz is holding an impromptu press conference. Let's listen in and we'll discuss afterward.
One-on-one between me and Donald Trump, because Donald and I are the only two that have any path to getting to 1,237 delegates. And head-to-head with Donald Trump, we win. The polling yesterday showed we beat Donald head-to-head by 13 points. And so if you don't believe Donald Trump is the best nominee for Republicans, if you recognize, as 65 to 70% of Republicans do, that Donald loses to Hillary in the general, then I would encourage Republicans, even if you were supporting another candidate, to come, join Carly, join the millions of conservatives who are coming together, unifying behind our campaign.
Senator, the campaign for Rubio says they're actively at your rally today saying, hey, don't vote for Cruz because that gives it to Trump. How do you answer that?
Well, as I said, a candidate can only have a path forward if the math allows you to get to 1,237 votes. You're running out of elections. You're running out of delegates. At this point, I've got 361 delegates. Donald has about 100 more. And nobody else is close in the delegate count. So if you want to stop Donald Trump, the answer is the same as in the eight other states where we beat Donald Trump, which is to unify behind our campaign. And I will say to all of the folks who were supporting other people, maybe you were supporting Jeb Bush or Chris Christie. Maybe you were supporting Rand Paul or Mike Huckabee or Rand Paul. Maybe you were supporting Carly Fiorina. Maybe you were supporting Dr. Ben Carson. Or maybe right now you're supporting Marco Rubio or John Kasich. Every one of those are good, honorable, decent people. I respect and admire every one of them. But at this point, the elections, the primaries have made clear that none has a path to beating Donald Trump. If you don't want to see Donald Trump as the nominee, if you don't want to hand the general election on a silver platter to Hillary Clinton and the Democrats, then I ask you to join us. If you were a Jeb supporter, if you're a Marco supporter now, if you're a Kasich supporter, we welcome you to our team. What we are seeing happening all across this country, what we saw happen in Kansas, what we saw happen in Maine, what we saw happen in Idaho, is we're seeing Republicans uniting, and we're seeing supporters from the other candidates coming together and saying we've got to have a proven, consistent conservative.
Senator Cruz, but you talked about the math here in Florida. If your presence here divides the anti-Trump vote, why is giving Trump a victory here in 99 delegates good for you or the Republican Party in general?
Major, let's be clear. Our object is not to give Trump a victory anywhere. Our object, we are competing nationally in all 50 states. We have an incredible grassroots team on the ground in all 50 states. You know, the media was very quick to write us off in virtually every state in which we've won a victory. The media said there was no chance on earth we could win in the state of Maine, that no conservative could do well in New England. We won a resounding victory in Maine. The media in Kansas said Trump had a dominant lead and was unbeatable. We beat Donald more than 2-1 in the state of Kansas. We have now won victories from coast to coast, literally from Maine to Alaska, both of which we've won, and from Texas up to Iowa. We are seeing a national victory, and so we're competing hard to win Florida. We're competing hard to win all across the country. And this is a battle to 1,237 delegates.
Do you believe you have a chance to win in Florida? Many people doubt that and wonder if 99 delegates for Trump doesn't just accelerate his march to the
Major,
nomination.
I recognize that many in the media doubt that we can win any given primary. That has been true of almost every primary.
I'm just asking.
Our objective is to compete to win in every state. And if conservatives continue to unite, yes, we can win in any state in the union. And the more this gets down to a two-man race, the more decisively we win. Because in a two-man race, Donald Trump has a hard ceiling of 35 to 40% that he can't get above. Now, Donald benefits when there are multiple candidates that are splintering the opposition.
All right, you're listening right there. Ted Cruz speaking to reporters after a big night last night. Sean Spicer of the RNC is still here with me. One of the things you heard, it was kind of the reoccurring theme of those questions, is about winnowing the field and what's going to happen in Florida and what's going to happen there and beyond. Interestingly enough, in the new CNN poll out this morning, Trump is leading in both Florida and Ohio, big states, obviously, on Tuesday. One in there, Sean, I wanted to ask you about is voters were asked if the candidate in the state doesn't win, should they get out? 71% said if Kasich doesn't win Ohio, he should get out. 66% said if Rubio doesn't win Florida, he should get out. What do you think Republicans are saying here?
Well, look, we're at a phase where each of these candidates has to assess their viability, their resources, their support. And as they go into these key phases, that's important for them to decide, for their supporters and for their campaigns to determine whether or not they can continue, whether they want to continue. But far be it for me or for anyone in Washington to tell them what they need to do. It's going to be up to them to determine if they have a level of support that allows them to continue past next week. And if they want to stay in the race and they've got the support, then they should do it. If they want to suspend their campaign, then they should do that. But it's going to be up to them to decide whether or not to do that or not.
And Tuesday is going to be a big factor in that decision. And even before that, tomorrow night, CNN debate here in Miami. That's going to be huge as well. Sean, it's great to see you. Thank you so much. John Berman will be